Development in the aviation sector. Of course, you do know flights are grounded. You have heard perhaps unions making a statement or two, but the MD of FAAN is here with us this morning, Mr. Uriesi. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, some dramatic scenario playing off, so many of them almost in quick succession in this aviation sector, which some are beginning to think is closed circuit, the way they handle some things. But what's going on in that sector, especially about this? FAAN not allowing, or is it the union not allowing FAAN to implement? And the arguments are just going back and forth.
I think it's a very simple thing, but it's been misconstrued, unfortunately, in the public eye. What happened yesterday was an industrial action by all the aviation unions together. They decided to break ranks because management has been managing this process in a particular way and towards an outcome that we all want, which is that that the debts, the crippling debts that are owed to the agencies in the industry, particularly FAAN, are settled. But I think they took all of us by surprise yesterday, and they went out and had an industrial action, as a result of which, unfortunately, the flights of Arik were disrupted. And we're dealing with that as it is. But the real issue really is the fact that the debts that are being owed, particularly to FAAN, but to other agencies in the industry, are crippling. That's the bottom line.
So, but Arik issues a statement saying some of those are baseless and they don't understand what's going on. It's unprecedented in that sector.
I'm just as shocked as you to have heard and read the statements issued by Arik yesterday. Arik is our biggest customer as FAAN. And so you can imagine that our budget is predominantly reliant on FAAN, on revenue from Arik. And in a situation where Arik doesn't pay us, it has a huge impact on FAAN's ability to be a going concern. To be able to run FAAN and pay salaries and maintain the airports and meet our financial ongoing obligations without the revenue that we've budgeted to get from our biggest customer, you can't even begin to imagine the danger to FAAN as a going concern.
But is there, because some wonder, how are they able to owe FAAN? Because if there is a collection system that is efficient, will this arise? There's nothing we haven't done. I have come to the conclusion, and I'll say it publicly, that the business model of Arik is to operate and get by without paying its bills. Really?
That is its business model.
Can the company just deliberately do that?
Well, I'm seeing it. And yesterday proved it. If it was a hunch before, it's confirmed now. Because all the shenanigans about the press conference they did yesterday shows me they don't even have an intention of paying. They are saying that our claim is spurious. How can it be spurious? You don't pay your debt. You don't pay your bills. You run an airline without paying your bills continuously.
Can we have like an insight into what some of those bills, or how those bills accrue? What exactly are they supposed to pay? How are they supposed to pay?
Okay, it's very simple. They owe us landing and parking fees. Now, every time an aeroplane lands, that's how the airport makes money. You need to maintain the runway, maintain the facilities, and provide the services to the airline. They pay for every landing, and they pay for parking. Arik doesn't pay. Arik runs without paying.
For how long has it been owing?
Oh, my goodness. I can't even start to tell you from when. Now, they go on, and to my shock yesterday, they actually deceive Nigerians by saying that for the past 18 months, they've been paying as you go, which is not true. What happened 18 months ago was another way of rescuing ourselves from not getting paid. Because the passenger, if you fly, you pay us 1,000 naira for passenger service charge. The law says that money is on the ticket. But the airlines, particularly Arik, were never remitting this money to FAAN. So we decided about 18 months ago to start going back into prehistoric age, what airlines used to do in the 60s. Start printing special tickets, what airports used to do in the 60s. Printing special tickets for the passenger service charge, which will force the airlines to buy upfront Because if we allow it to be on the ticket, they will never remit the money to us. It's our money, it's not theirs. Now, they're saying to Nigerians yesterday that they've been paying us pay-as-you-go for 18 months. It's not their money, it's ours. The money they should be paying us is the landing and packing fees, which they don't do.
How much is this money?
Well, Arik owes us 7 billion, just over 7 billion naira.
7
crippling.
billion.
7 billion naira.
Oh. Is there any other chart? Is there any other way? Because I think I listened to them yesterday and how they say they remit some money to, did they remit any money to the Ministry of Aviation?
Of course not. What they're talking about is we taking our passenger service charge away from them 18 months ago. And they say to Nigerians yesterday, for the last 18 months they've been paying us pay-as-you-go. That's deceitful. That's a corporate lie. It's unfortunate that an airline can say that kind of thing.
You can put a figure or a date to how long? I mean, since they came on board?
Yes, what's going on right now is FAAN's management's determination to say enough. You can't continue to operate without paying your bills. Enough.
So what did FAAN specifically do?
Nothing. We've been working with them, given the circumstances in the industry, where right now the industry is going through a reset in the sense that it's changing because there's a new, not just safety, but also an economic regulatory model that everyone has to adjust to. That's why after the crash, unfortunately, we now have 3 airlines operating: Arik, Air Contractors, and IRS, of which Arik is about 85% of that. It's difficult to stop Arik operating at this time because of it will seriously hurt Nigerians and it will seriously hurt the economy. And they take advantage of that. So in the background, we're tightening the screws and saying you must pay your bills, you must pay your bills, you must pay your bills. But in the front, they keep saying to people they don't owe us, they don't owe us, they don't owe us. That's hogwash, that's nonsense. How can an airline say it doesn't owe us when it owes us 7 billion naira and it doesn't pay its bills?
You know, Mark asked a question which is very vital here. How did it happen? How come FAAN allowed this to go on for a time to the extent that it accumulated to the tune of even 1 billion? Now we're talking about 7 billion.
Well, let me put it this way. I think it's a measure of the determination of the management of FAAN. Over the years, I know that attempts have been made. But I think, given what I just told you is their business model, it's clear to us that they'll have to be forced to pay this money in order for them to pay it. And the alternative is to shut them down. Now, no one is interested in shutting down the airline. I admire the airline. I admire the leadership of the airline, the vision to put an airline on the ground, to grow it, to invest hugely in all the infrastructure and all the aeroplanes, and in such a huge organization that they are. It's in FAAN's interest that they survive, because they are our biggest customer. If they go down, it hurts us big time. But we cannot continue to be cheaply blackmailed and held accountable and told that we are not going to pay you. We are going to continue to operate. And anytime there's a little fracas, they take advantage of it to go out there and accuse FAAN's management of all sorts of things. How can they accuse this honorable minister of hostility to them? This is somebody who went out on a limb fighting for them when they were thrown out of Heathrow on the Abuja flight. All of a sudden she's hostile to them?
Now they claim, I mean, we saw it on the front pages this morning, that was because she wanted a 5% stake in the airline.
That is hogwash. How can you want 5% stake in an airline that it's balance sheet? What do you want to do with 5% of that airline? You want to throw your money into a hole? They have to get out of the issues that they have. They have a lot of issues. But despite the issues that they have no right, and I'm saying it publicly, Arik Air has absolutely no right to operate on a business model that says, I will operate and I will not pay this government agency.
If that is what they
dare not, they can't do it. They're not going to be allowed to do it anymore.